Welcome to the Smart Dating Academy podcast. I'm Bela, Gandhi, the founder of Smart Dating Academy and your host. I started Smart Dating Academy in 2009 because I had this crazy knack of giving people dating advice that actually worked, that I took. I've been married for almost 25 years, and now my company helps people to date smarter and to find love. This podcast is meant to bring more love into your life, no matter where you are and what you do. And we're here to bring more life into your love. Smart daters, welcome back to the podcast. Today's expert friend is someone I am so excited and honored to present to you. She is my friend, and you know her as an anchor on Dun 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 GMA. Good Morning America, Janai Norman. Thank you for being here with us today and just being you. I can't wait to have this conversation.
Yes, I'm so excited. You know how much I love you. So this is an absolute pleasure.
Oh my gosh. And so you guys, I'll tell you, this idea of Janai coming on the show hatched behind the scenes in the green room at GMA, which is not even green. It's like a conference room.
Yeah.
So I had just been COVID swabbed and said, I can go live on the show. And I opened the door and, past my door walks the effervescent, sparkling Janai Norman. And I probably leaped on her and tackled her like, and we got into this conversation about, kindness, compassion, meditation, parenting, love in like 180 seconds.
Yes, we went 0 to 100. We were just so excited to see each other in person. And then, all of these things, it was the universe, because we were both already thinking all of these things, and it was the perfect moment to let it all out.
Right. And so I was like, oh, we just talked about this on the podcast. And she was like, I'm going to be on your podcast. I'm like, oh my God, like 5 minutes ago, let's do this. So I'm so excited, Janai, to just kind of tell us about you. Tell us your story. How did you end up on GMA? Tell us your story as spoiler alert, a girl from Illinois.
Yeah. A girl from the cornfields. And that's what, I think about that so often. I grew up in Dekalb, Illinois, an hour west of Chicago, but not suburbs, like straight up cornfields. We're known for barbed wire and corn and Cindy Crawford. I loved to write. And so it was writing that drew me to the journalism class in high school, and that led me to Mizzou. But then journalism didn't exactly work out. So I became a communications and psychology double major. And I knew even in high school, I wanted to intern in New York City. I wanted to end up at ABC News. And so even when the journalism degree didn't work out, those were still my goals. And I was going to do whatever I needed to make that happen. I was in a communications class one day when there was a posting for a production assistant job at the local ABC affiliate, took it down, went and applied that day, got that job. I didn't have a car, and this job was away from campus. I think I had to take 2 buses and walk. It was one of those things where there's a will, there's a way. And so I would sometimes borrow a friend's car to go to work at 4 a.m. for the morning show, and then go on to my college classes. The next semester I was doing that, but then I also started interning at the station 2 days a week in the afternoon. So I'd be there working, go to class, and then come back and intern. And then just sort of the way the universe does, there would be breaking news and no one else there. So they would send me out to cover it. And then I got the internship in New York with ABC, and that was the dream. And so I came to the city, and it was just so amazing. But some people, it wouldn't necessarily make my bosses feel good when I say I didn't like that internship, but I share that because not everyone is going to love their internship, but that doesn't mean you don't get incredible lessons from it. And the incredible takeaway from that internship was, as much as I wanted to be in New York City right away, as soon as I graduated college, I knew if I took a job as a production assistant or something like that, a desk assistant, I could get here. But that was not going to help me get to my long-term goal, which was Good Morning America. So that's what I learned from that internship. And I made incredible connections and decided, you know what, I've 1 semester left in school. I'm going to go back to mid-Missouri and I'm going to hit the ground running, reporting there and do the local news thing. So I did. I reported in mid-Missouri, graduated, started reporting full-time there. From there, went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. From there, went to Orlando, Florida, doing the local news thing. And again, being so goal-oriented, there was a time where on my work phone, on my home screen, I had Nielsen's top 20 TV markets. So every time I looked at my work phone, I was like, look, the next goal is here. And then there came a point where it was the top 10 markets. Look, this is the next goal. Because I was so laser focused. I stayed on the morning show and every place that I worked because I was going to get more live shot reps, the big breaking news, the big national stories. Everything I did was geared towards ending up right here.
You were clear.
I was. And when you're clear on your goals, the universe conspires to make it happen. And that is absolutely what happened, Bella.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So wait, so you have your screensaver and you're going from mid-Missouri to Kansas to Florida. Okay. What happened to get you to where you are now?
Okay. So there came a point when I was in Florida and I was just like, you know what? I realize I am no longer growing in my role here. I feel like I've gotten all I need to from this job. Why else does the universe have me here now? I really was like, there's another reason and I don't know yet. And I eventually met my husband.
Okay. Hold up. Okay. Let's go there. What happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
Florida.
So, yes, I was in Florida. I'm in Orlando. And Bella, the thing is when I was, 25, 26, so focused on my career, I didn't want to meet anyone that was going to distract from that. I didn't want to meet anyone that was going to keep me in Florida because that's not where my end goal was. I particularly was looking for a plus one. I was looking for a plus one who I could bring along to events when I needed to, someone I could hang out with because I was on the morning shift. So I had this weird schedule. It can be very lonely when you're a local news reporter going from market to market. And before I met him, I'd just taken a break from men. I was just like, I'm not going to look right now. So then once I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. I got on Tinder and I had a lot of apprehension about it. But for me, going to work at 2:30 in the morning, I wasn't out at bars. How was I going to meet somebody? So I thought, this is what I have to do.
And now I want to tell you, and for those of you, dear listeners, that are like, oh, I can't put myself out there. This woman is a local reporter, anchor, and says, I'm going to put my photos on there and they all know me and I'm going on Tinder. So, let's marinate in that. Continue, Janai.
Exactly. And you know what, Bella, I'm glad you point that out because obviously I wouldn't have done that if I was into hookup culture or something like that. That's not what it was. So I was being specific about what I was looking for, but I knew how else was I going to meet someone? So I'd gone on one date before and that didn't work out. So then I was like, okay, I'll go on one more date. One more date. And I'm
giving this Tinder thing one more date.
Exactly. This is the last chance. And okay, so Bella, I'm going to tell you this story I love to tell about meeting my husband. So it starts December 26th, 2015. I'm in a Nordstrom rack in Orlando, Florida. And I hear a song. I'm shopping because I'm going to spend New Year's Eve in Dallas with some friends. I hear this song at the Nordstrom rack and I Shazam it. I recognize the voice from a song that I loved on Criminal Minds. Ray LaMontagne was the singer. I hear it. I Shazam the song. And the song is called You Are the Best Thing. And I'm like, oh, it's the same singer. He has a very distinctive voice. I'm like, oh, this is a cool song. But I look at it and I'm like, the song's like from 2008 or something. Why is it on right now? Okay, cool. Fast forward, go on about my life. My husband and I match on me and this random man, we matched on January 6th.
Dude comes into my inbox.
Exactly. But he didn't message me and I wasn't going to message him. So 2 weeks pass. It's a Tuesday. After the morning show, I go out to lunch with my other morning reporter, our photographers. We're out at lunch in Orlando, Florida, and the song comes on again. And I Shazam it just to make sure. I'm like, I think this is the same song. I look, it is. I'm like, oh, how random. I just heard this song. That next morning, it was that night, but I didn't see it till the next morning. This man had messaged me on Tinder, introduces himself. I'm like, okay. I remember the exact scene that I was at that morning when I got the message, and I'm replying, and we start messaging back and forth. And, then we talk on the phone, and I'm like, okay, he seems normal enough. He's just in Orlando helping with some family stuff. He's actually based out of DC. Okay, there's potential there. We decide to go to breakfast for our first date later that week. And he was dating multiple people at the time. Breakfast was cheaper. I love breakfast, so I was on board.
Bam.
Our conversation was so amazing that we then decided to go to dinner that same night.
I love it.
So Bella, we get to dinner. We're sitting at the table. We haven't ordered anything yet. The song comes on again.
Stop it.
I am 100% a believer in signs from the universe. And so I tell him, I'm like, this song, this is the third time I'm hearing it. It's not a new song. I think the universe is sending me a sign. And he's like, well, what's the song about? Let's look up the lyrics. We pull up the lyrics to Ray LaMontagne's You Are the Best Thing. And it's all about you are the best thing that ever happened to me. And it was at dinner, the first day I ever met this man, that I'm like, wait a minute, is this my person? Sure enough.
Oh my God, I have full body chills. And I'm sure I don't even know this song, or maybe I do. And maybe I've been at the Nordstrom rack jamming out to Ray LaMontagne, but you can be darn sure that I'm going to be listening to that song. Oh my gosh. And then, okay, when he swiped on you, was he like, hey, are you that person? Or did he not know who you were?
He did not know. He didn't he didn't watch the news.
He's like, whatever.
Especially not the local news. So no, he didn't. And so it was funny, months later, as we were getting more serious, once he did, he actually posted on Facebook and was like a screenshot of me on the news and was like, hey, I'm looking for this girl. Help me find her. Of course, we'd already known each other by then. So it was a fun joke. But no, at the time he didn't. And the way the universe works, he was going to go back to DC in 5 months. 4 months later, get out of my contract. I moved to DC without a job. My agent at the time is like, hey, are you sure this guy's the one? Are you sure you're going to do this?
You sure?
I'm like, yeah, it was absolutely one of those things when you know, and I knew. I took the leap of faith. And so then as I moved to DC and I started interviewing for jobs there, I interview with ABC News. And then the rest of my life falls into place, Bella.
Oh my God. So had you been with ABC the whole time? I wanted to ask you that as you were going market to market.
No. So it was like, I'd been with an ABC affiliate and then a Fox affiliate, but it was owned by the same company that owned the ABC affiliate in Orlando. And so those affiliates really had nothing to do with the network. Yep. So then once I moved to DC without a job, that's when I was interviewing with the network. Started working at the DC bureau in ABC. 2 years later, got the promotion to overnights. We moved our whole family, us and our almost 1-year-old, to New York. And the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. And you're there, you dreamt this as a kid in Dekalb, and here you are. And what a testament to knowing your goals, right? Being fearless and being conscious of taking all the steps in that direction and never saying, could I do this? Should I? You just did it. And I love that. And for those of you who are listening to this and thinking about your own careers, or maybe your own search and love, when you are conscious and you have the goals and you start doing the right things on a daily basis and staying super focused every day, you have a choice. When a choice comes to you, you can go left or you can go right. When you know where you want to go, all those small things lead to the big things, right?
Yes.
Right? Everything you did led you to where you are now.
Yes. And that's what was just so incredible. And he still jokes. We still joke. It's not a joke. He is the best thing that ever happened to me, because it was following him to DC that led me to ABC at the time that it did. It is incredible.
Wow. And is he in a similar career to you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I guess he would have known who you were then if he doesn't even
right. Yeah, no, he works for the government. His whole life was completely different. And he has gotten used to it because personally we're both very private. He is even more private. And so even the idea of like being posted on Instagram and stuff like that, he's very much like, let's limit it. Like he's good in the shadows, which is a good balance for me.
And it is your 5th wedding anniversary this week, right?
Yeah. And that is what's amazing about the whole journey, that here we are 5 years into marriage, all of the ups and downs and the joy that comes with it. And not only are we celebrating 5 years of marriage, but we are celebrating becoming a family of 5.
Oh my gosh. I'm done. This is amazing. And you've got a 5-year-old. You have boys, girls, remind me.
5-year-old boy, 3-year-old girl.
Yeah. And do you know what the third is?
No, and we won't find out. We didn't find out with our daughter either. We love a good surprise. And at this point we just don't even care either, because we got one of both. We got everything we need. We're just like, bring it on. Bring on this next challenge.
Oh my gosh. I love this. And tell it, like, did you have serious relationships before you met your husband? Like, had dating been easy for you, or just kind of give us a little bit of a background on that?
That's interesting that you ask, because there were a couple longer term relationships that I was in, but in hindsight, do I consider them like seriously dating? No. And I say that because even in those instances, even one who I lived with at one point, I knew deep in my soul that wasn't going to be anything more than that. I knew that. I know that now, obviously, but I knew that then. And so it's hard to call it serious. And I think that's an important distinction, because along the way, there were other people who tried to tell me what that relationship was or what it could be. But deep in my heart, I knew that it wasn't. And obviously I was fine at that time dating in that way. But then once I met my husband, when we were dating for 5 months, it felt different than 2 years before.
Wow.
And it's that, I think Oprah calls it like tapping into that inner knowing. There's just something in your soul. It's your intuition. And there's so much going on in life that makes us question that. It's our mind getting in the way of what our body knows. But there are times when I know that I've been able to tap into that. And those are some of them.
I love that. And what sounds so awesome, as you said, when you guys were at breakfast on your first date, the conversation was so easy and it was amazing. And the conversation seems to have continued for the last several years. And It's so interesting that you say that you knew in your gut that the other people, let's call them long-term or serious,
Yeah.
whatever it was, you knew in your gut that they weren't the right people.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, you just pulled the plug and said, you're not right for me. I got to move on. It's great that you think I'm the lid to your pot, but this is not
Right.
working for me.
Yeah. And it was, and I remember even calling my mom at one point to tell her about breaking up with one of them. And she was like shocked and, oh my gosh. And I was like, no, 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 it's okay. And like, was I a little bit sad and mourning the end of something? Yeah. But I knew that this was the right thing to do. And as we're talking about this, I remember appreciating that I knew when to end something, that I knew when it was time to walk away, when it was time to say goodbye, because that's a skill and that's hard because goodbyes are hard and they're sad and they can come with a lot of uneasy feelings, but that doesn't mean you don't need them. There are still so many lessons in that. And so that was one thing that I appreciated, that I knew, okay, this is no longer serving me. So now it's time to move on. Whether that was a relationship, a job, whatever the case may be.
And that's beautiful, because I know for so many of us, and maybe for you listening, that's a hard thing to do, right? Sometimes when we know in our soul, when we really tap in and we're listening, we know that there are red flags. We know maybe this is toxic, or we just know this isn't the right fit for me. Good human, but it's done. And to have the courage to be able to say, I know this isn't right, and I know there's something better, and I know I'm going to be okay. Like your mom was nervous. Oh my God,
Yeah.
my darling, you're going to be single, living by yourself again. Ah, right. Like moms do.
Yes.
And you were
Yes.
like,
I was like,
it's okay.
no.
Right.
No,
And
be
you were okay. And you were okay. And you didn't stay in something that wasn't serving you. I call that, it's an accounting concept called sunk costs. You just continue to put more and more dollars into something that you know is a dog. It's not
right.
going to go anywhere, but oh, it's better than being alone. It's better than blah, blah, blah. And you
Oh,
were like, oh, no, no, no. If it's not on my journey to where I want to go, it's got to
exactly.
go.
That's it. And that's exactly it. It was, okay, would this be more comfortable in the short term? Maybe, but long term, absolutely not. And it was the long term goals that ultimately I was always very clear about and focused on.
I love that. And what are your favorite things about your husband?
First off, he is hilarious. And having someone to roll through life who literally will have me doubled over in the kitchen, crying, laughing, that just feels really good. He's very witty and funny. Even in the midst of an argument, that man can get me to completely disarm and laugh. And I appreciate that so much, even when I don't want to.
Well, exactly. And what it sounds like to me, he's funny. And what that lends itself to is this lightness in your relationship. Even
Yeah.
if you're having a conflict, he can kind of turn it into something fun and playful, even though you're like, this is not funny and it is
Right.
not playful. But that tells me he's someone who generally is probably a glass half full person who looks at the world with those lenses and doesn't take himself
Absolutely.
too seriously.
And he's just level. He is level in a way that I am still learning to find that balance. I'm more tumultuous with the highs and lows, and he's just level. And he challenges me, Bella, in all the most frustrating, but all of the most necessary ways to force me to become the best version of myself. And he is right there loving me so steadfastly along the way, in a way that sometimes I'm just like, are you sure? Are you sure? but he does. And to be able to grow and evolve and know that that person is in your corner cheering you on, is such a huge relief, honestly.
I love that. And for those of you who are smart daters, you know about our concept of elevator people. And Janai, we talk about wants versus needs in the dating world. And so many people, and so many, we'll just go with women looking for men for a second. We'll come in. I want him to be over 6 feet tall and have 6 figures in a salary and la 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 la. And they've been doing this year over year, decade over decade, going, God, sometimes good on paper isn't worth the paper it's even written on. Why can't I get this right? And so we shift their dating philosophy to something we call elevator people. We have them define the people in their life. I'm like, tell me about the people that make you really, really happy, that elevate you. So we call them elevator people because they elevate you.
Yeah.
And one of the hallmarks when people go through that exercise with us and they list, 3 to 7 people that really are the creme de la creme of the relationships in their lives. And one of the most common thing that I hear about what an elevator person is, and I've surveyed over 2,000 singles doing this through our practice, someone who is in my corner, who cheerleads me, who encourages me to be the best version of myself, is always there for me. Sounds like you've got yourself a tried and true elevator man.
Yeah. And I mean, and Bella, to hear you say the difference between wants and needs, I knew that I needed a very strong man who had very strong boundaries of his own and everything, because I have a way of being able to get what I want. But I need someone who can be more firm with me and who can call me on my nonsense and can just call me out and still love me. And that is that's what I needed. And that is who my husband is.
I love that. And I'm sure you are that person for him as well.
Oh, 100%.
You are each other's elevator people. So, tell us, you've got, for your young age, you've got so much good life experience. Do you have any other Janai-isms that you want to leave us to make us better?
Oh my gosh. I tell myself, and I have told myself since before, I remember standing in Orlando in my first apartment, looking out the window towards downtown, and I had this poster that said, "Fortune favors the bold." And I still tell myself that fortune favors the bold. And I use that when you come to one of those forks in the road and you're not sure what to do. And the safer choice, it feels safe for a reason, because it's not going to push you so much out of your comfort zone. You're not thinking about the fear, or you are thinking about the fear of the more challenging road. And I take stock now of when I am making a decision that's based in fear. And if it's based in fear, that's not a good place to make a decision from. And I try to remind myself that fortune favors the bold. And so make the bold decision, do the hard thing, do the thing that people are going to question you on, because the risks may be bigger, but the rewards are too. And that has worked out for me so extremely well in dating and career, in life.
I love that. And I find something very similar if I look back at the things I'm proudest of in my life, or that have given me the most joy, and those moments, there are always those moments where you could have said no out of fear. Right? My first interview live on GMA probably was 2016 or 2017. And I get a call. I'm like, no. And then I'm like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll do this. And you put the phone down. You're like, I think I'm going to go throw up now. And then I'm going to come back and I'll be fine.
Right. We'll get through that.
I'll get through that. But yes, never make a decision out of fear, because at the end of the day, if they make a call to you, you are good enough. And always remember, I tell people, expect acceptance. wherever you are.
Yeah.
Walk into a room, expect to be accepted. You belong in that room.
I like that. Yeah.
You always, Janai, expect acceptance, right? And you have, and you've demonstrated that, but we can all have those moments of, oh my gosh, should I be in this room? Hell to the yes, expect acceptance. And when you walk in and you expect that, sometimes I do this when I walk into rooms of people, I'm like, oh my gosh, who's that? You know what? And I just steel myself in my core. I always imagine this big heart in my core, right? And I kind of tighten up, expect acceptance.
Yes.
And then you just comport yourself differently.
Yes.
And you're the better version of yourself because you're not coming from a place of fear.
Right.
You're coming from a place of love, and you can give that love to the people in the room so they feel
And
that.
people respond to that. Exactly.
Yes. 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 Oh my gosh. You are so amazing. You have to come back to this show again. Do you swear?
Yes, absolutely. Bella, I love any chance to get to just chat with you. So absolutely.
Oh my gosh. All right. Done. It's a date. Well, I am so happy for you. Happiest 5-year anniversary. I know you're going to be at 50 someday as well, your 50th anniversary, and a week of adding the 5th to your beautiful family. We are sending you lots of love and lots of support through the pregnancy. Eat the cake, do all the things.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, smart daters. Fortune favors the bold, like Janai said. Stop making decisions out of fear. Stop spending time with people that aren't good for you when you know in your gut this relationship is not serving you. And this might not even be a romantic relationship. It could be a friendship. It could be a job. If it is not serving you and that inner voice is telling you that, be the bold. Favor yourself, make that decision today that you are going to be proud of. And if you do make that decision, DM us, email us on our website, tell us what you did to be bold, be courageous, because we want to hear from you. And if you need help with your love life, be bold and you know where to come. So with that, we will see you next week.